Make sure you don't miss a thing. Go to starzology.com/newsletter and sign up.
Welcome to the Starzology Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Arwynne O'Neill, and today we have a special episode. I am interviewing a musician based in Houston, Texas, named Marck Winters, who reached out to us after we did our Music in the Birth Chart episode. So listen and learn about how his journey from physics and engineering to songwriting and touring lines up with the astrology in his chart. Hello, Marck. It's great to have you join me.
Yes, I'm excited to chat with you. It's a beautiful day here in Houston, and I think it's a great afternoon for me. I'm feeling good. How about yourself?
Amazing. It's actually a really beautiful day here too. It's one of those days in Vancouver where we're like, "Yay, spring is coming."
Yeah.
It's still a little cold, but the sun's shining.
Yeah, we're in Houston, so a little further south and a little warmer, I think.
Quite jealous.
Yeah, I love Vancouver though. I got a chance to spend some time there on my tour last year, on my spring tour, and it's so beautiful there. It's like out of this world. It's something else.
I can't agree more. Yeah, we love it. Well, let me just give some background for our listeners. So You listened to our recent Music in the Astrology Chart episode, and you were inspired to reach out to us. You are a musician. You have a background in physics and engineering, I believe, and you have been interested in astrology a little bit all of your life, influenced by your mother, which is something interesting that we can get into, because I see that you've got the moon in Leo in your 7th house, which means that your mother is definitely a strong and powerful influence, and she seems to be someone who is a very big influence in your life, maybe looming large over your influences and your personality.
Yeah, I think definitely a lot of influence there for sure. Is it Arwynne? I don't know. Mess up the enunciation. So is that correct?
It's just like Lord of the Rings, but spelled differently. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you have Lord of the Rings hair going on. So look at you. You're like an elf, you know?
Yes.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yes, definitely. The Queen of the Elves. That's me. But quickly, I'm also going to give your birth information, if that's okay, for our listeners.
Yeah, that's cool, I guess.
Awesome. In case they want to run the chart, or they can just look at the link to the blog post underneath here, and we'll have all the information. So in case you're playing along at home, Marck Winters was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, November 16th, 1984 at 11 a.m. And we always suspect a time that's like right on the hour, but we're going to go with it anyway, because what that does is it puts Mars right on your ascendant. And I can already see that is definitely a big part of your personality. You've got Capricorn rising, which puts Mars in what we call accidental dignity. And Mars is in the 1st house. So that's a really strong planet in your chart. So we're going to go with Capricorn rising. We're going to talk more about all the other placements as we go.
There's a song in there, Capricorn Rising. I've got to write that song, I think.
Do it.
That is so cool. And there's such an interesting overlap between like astrology, science, and philosophy, and I guess there's a mystic element to it. To me, it almost lives like in the same place that my brain does, between science and poetry and everything. It's really fascinating. I think what an interesting field.
Well, absolutely. We always say that astrology is a metaphorical language. And for some people, it's more of a spiritual pursuit. For some people, it's all about the psychology and being able to put things in sort of archetypal terms and use these commonly known symbolic phrases and this entire mythical language to talk about themselves in ways that normal language doesn't allow us to. So it's everything in a nutshell that songwriting is as well, and mythology, and you can take it as far as you want to. So it's really great that you found us. Well, let's get into your biography a bit. What brought you from physics to music?
My whole life I've had this affinity for math and science, for figuring out how things work, a curious mind, but probably leaning into the science and mathematics and applied physics area. And I've always been very mechanically inclined and sort of very engineering in thought. And so it's been like a big part of my personality. And had this little small, tiny bit of the art that started with me when I was around 5 years old. 4 boys in my family, and we were all hanging out at my grandma's house in East Texas. I remember waking up in her sewing room, one of those rooms covered in, I don't know, like a velour couch and just kind of this old-timey antique furniture, everything kind of vibing. And I'm like 5 years old, and somehow she put a spell on me, and I woke up in her sitting room. Last thing I remember, I was outside running around the yard with my brothers, and then boom, I'm in her sewing room, and we're writing poetry about lilies.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, how did I even get here? I don't know. But we became poetry pals, and we started painting together. And so I had this, awakening, I guess, of my artistic sense at that moment. And then, throughout my, middle school years and high school years, we write each other poems. We would paint things and send them back and forth to each other. And so we had this, I don't know, secret society of art between me and her. She's a great artist. She's a great poet. My grandpa, she does impressionistic painting. So like watercolors, and just very sort of capture the emotion of a thing more so than the detail of a thing. And my grandpa, on the other hand, I'll call him like my construction and engineering buddy. He's an electrical engineer. He had a beautiful wood shop. We would construct things together, furniture, shelves, you name it. And he was a pen and ink drawer, right? So a pen and ink artist, very good too. Right. And so early on, I had these two things cooking, but I wasn't really, doing a lot of the impressionistic art or the poetry, other than just periodical with my grandma. And so as I went through my life, I ended up, leaning more and more into the engineering and science. I became an aerospace engineer. I love computational fluid dynamics. I love calculus. I love differential equations. I love applying them in the real world. And so I really, have a passion for that. I had a teeny bit of poetry every now and then that I would write for my friends, but it would kind of freak everyone out, because like, here's Mark, the hard driving guy, the poet, the engineer, whatever else, doing my thing. And then all of a sudden I'd write them this poem. They're like, what is that? Who are you again? And so that's kind of the sort of starting and stopping of things. And then I decided, because, music had always been this potentiator for me. It brought out, whatever I was feeling. If I was running and I had the right track, I would run faster. If I was dancing, I would, be more in the groove. Whatever I was doing, music just put wind in my sails in the direction I was going. And so I really had this affinity, but I never really did anything musical. And so I decided in 2011 that I was going to put it on my list as a thing to do. And being a goal-oriented guy, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get it done, right? Or when I put it on my list, and then I decided, because I like to put myself out there, that I was going to buy a guitar and play a song for my wife for our anniversary. And so I put myself on the track to learn. I bought the guitar from a guy here in the Houston area, and he agreed to teach me to play and sing the song when I bought the guitar from him. And, I set up this secret plan to learn the song before she knew I was actually playing guitar.
I love it.
And then I surprised her in the restaurant, our favorite Italian restaurant. And it was so impactful for me, so emotional for me. The fact that, I don't know, that I could sing to somebody that I cared about. It's like I was riding this little wave of emotion. Like my poetry, if I wrote you a poem, I would have this small feeling about it. And it would be, to me, intense. But then when I sang a song to her, it was like 10 times that. It just, wow. And so this is the whole emotional eruption for me. And I became obsessed. I needed to have more of that, Arwynne. I needed to have more.
That is fascinating. Yeah. And I'm going to bring a couple of astrological points in here, because what I'm saying, this is amazing. The fact that you were doing all this in secret, kind of behind the scenes, you've got Venus conjunct Jupiter in your 12th house. So this is like you're cooking up something secretly that is super deep, and you're passionate about it, but you're not ready to reveal it yet. And then you've got the moon in Leo, which is this incredibly buoyant and bright sort of placement for the moon. The moon is, very deep and emotional, but having it in Leo, this is all about performance and all about reflecting that love back at someone else and having it expand your heart. And that's in the 7th house of partnership. So the fact that that was your entree into music is just so powerfully symbolic. And I can just kind of see it as I'm looking at your chart and going, yep, that tracks. That's amazing.
That's phenomenal. It felt to me like it was, I'm not sure that I felt like I was reflecting anything. It's like I was giving. So I was singing my little heart out, doing my thing, and I was giving. I felt like I was taking in like 10 times more than I was giving. Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal. And then I just, the other side of my personality is like took over a little bit. Like, okay, well, you really love that, but you really need to learn how to do it properly, right?
Yeah.
So let's get it going. And so I became obsessed with. I put a little band together, and we started. I wanted to play just one show as a band, just to get that experience. And it put me on this path that slowly but surely, as I was singing, I kept changing the lyrics for other people's songs because they didn't say what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
A poet, words matter to me. And so I can't sing that. So my band would wait, hey, let's play this song. And I'm like, I don't think I can sing that. They're like, it's just a song. I'm like, the words are coming out of my mouth. I can't say the thing, right? And so that led me to writing my own songs.
Amazing.
And it also made it clear for me, like when I write a poem for someone, it's like, I want to say something with intensity. And so I really am thoughtful. I write a poem that's very, 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 very heartfelt. And so as I'm starting to write my music, then it made me reflect more about what do I want to say?
Right. For the astrologers following along here, Mercury does rule your 5th house, which is the house of creativity. Mercury is the house, or the sign of communication, or the planet of communication, rather. So music is therapeutic for you. Writing is all about expressing yourself. And you've also got Mercury conjunct Uranus, which is the planet of sudden insights and enlightenment and innovation. So this is.
I like that one. What planet is that one?
That's Uranus, and you've got that in the 11th house. So you're building a community through your art, through your communication style, and like starting up a band right away. That completely makes sense, because the 11th house is the house of groups and kind of bringing people together.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah,
as well as the natural house of Uranus, so it's in its own house there.
Yeah, I love that collaborative element, and it's like my creative journey has gone through all these unlocks. Like, okay, here I am, I'm learning. I bought a bunch of online classes to teach myself music theory and recording and how to play the guitar and how to sing, and so I'm in this journey, and then I hit like this roadblock. So the first roadblock is like, as I'm doing my own compositional work and whatever else, I didn't grow up as a singer. And so, I think, you can learn like from YouTube or whatever else. You can learn to play the piano. You can learn, to play guitar. You can learn to play other instruments. And there's a lot of, I think it's easier to sort of mimic or monkey see, monkey do what you see other people doing or whatever else. And sort of, you can, you hit a note on the piano. It's the C. It's not, is it a C? No, it's the C. When you fret it on the guitar, it's a C. When you sing, you're like,
yes, I have found that too. I would love to be able to sing, but I just don't have that. Yeah.
Is it a thing? Right. And so I had this whole transfer. So I had to find a vocal instructor.
Yeah.
Because it's such a rich and bodyful learning experience.
And you need that actual in-person feedback.
Yeah.
To know if you have it right.
Yeah, that helped me a lot. And then I found, I went through this epiphany then to learn to control my voice and what it feels like. And that intensity of feeling started helping me write better. And so like you said, this feedback loop is occurring and everything's, kind of progressing. And then I went to a songwriting retreat in Austin. Andrea Stolpe, an amazing writer and amazing teacher. She teaches all over the US. I learned free writing. I never had done it before. And so she would say, okay, here's a picture or here's a concept, free write against it. Just let your mind go and just write everything that comes into it. And you free write. And then when you finish whatever period of time you're free writing, then you go back and reflect on it and you look for lyrics in there. Like you look for choruses and verses in there.
Right? Very cool.
I'd never done it before. We did it. And then she would have you stand up and read it, So, I stood up and read mine, and like my mind's all over the place and I'm doing everything right. And it became my way to write, to let myself get away from mental inhibitions and everything else and just sort of, what am I feeling? And write the thing. And that helped me unlock a lot about what I wanted to say. And it helped me sort of think about ways to bridge my science mind, because I see the world as a scientist a lot. So I see the light refracting through the window, and I think about the spectrums of the colors. And then my poet mind's like, hey man, that's like really cool. And if you smeared it like this, right, we would have this beautiful transition of color.
Right.
And so
the watercolor from your grandmother. Yeah.
You feel me, Arwynne, you feel me. Yes. Yeah. And so so I've learned to balance the halves. I'm not sure what house that's in, but balancing the halves of my mind, I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting. Your chart, you've got everything in the upper half of the chart, except Chiron and North Node in the 4th house, which it's that home influence, the fact that you began learning about art and that your passion for music came from the home. That's right there in the 4th house. And that everything else, it's almost like an umbrella, like an open umbrella where the stick is the North Node and Uranus, and Chiron. And then everything else is in the very top half, which speaks well for being in a band and being public about your music and learning from other people and wanting to immediately put it out there and be public about it. And also the way that you reached out to us, that you heard the podcast and you immediately reached out and were persistent. And before we even had a chance to reply, you had written a couple of times. We're like, oh, we better get a hold of him.
Stop it. He's bothering me.
Not at all. It was more like honestly, technology. I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? Because we usually record at ALISON'S place and she's got all the equipment and I've just got Zoom. So but we made it work. I mean, I definitely see all of that ambition and all of that desire to put everything out there immediately and learn on the job, as they say. And have that be your entire world is your canvas, and it's all this learning experience that is very public.
Yeah, that I've never been shy or bashful, for sure, and so I think that helps me overcome a lot of the normal things that would hold you back. I mean, you have to be bad before you can be less bad at music, right? And it's an iterative process, and so I think that's been super helpful. Just because I don't have any fears in that regard. I think as I'm out in the world collaborating with people, I'm out touring and releasing music. I always am looking to learn from other people. So I think that, that whole collaborative element that you were mentioning is definitely a part of who I am.
Yeah, you've also got Neptune in the 11th house. So Neptune, Uranus, and Venus all are very creative planets, and they're all in the 11th house, which is the house of, as we said, groups and sort of teamwork and building your community, building your tribe.
Yeah. I call it my positive vibe tribe.
And it's all in Sagittarius, which is a very positive sign. It's amazing.
I don't know. Ever since I was born, I've always had sort of the glass is half full view of the world.
Yeah, you have.
I don't stay down much, and I if I do get knocked down, I get right back up and keep going. And my science mind interprets that like as I have a few extra protons in my orbit, right? and so I'm like, all right. And when you come to a show of mine, it's my job to try and give you a few of those so that you can take them with you and create some light in your world when you leave my show.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I love.
This episode is brought to you by New Moon Wishing, a self-care guidebook for wishful thinkers. Please see the link in the show notes.
So I've got a couple of notes here from Alison as well. So she has noticed that your part of fortune is in the 9th house, which means you benefit greatly from education and international connections, which is what the 9th house is all about. And it's also conjunct Pluto, which means that digging deep into psychology and deep transformational topics, matters of life and death or spirituality are really important to your journey into your creativity.
Man, it's like she knows me or something, huh?
Well, yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah. So yes, yes to all of those. My brother has been, an expatriate a lot, and he and I chat often. He's lived in just about every country on the planet, and shared a lot of that cultural elements with me. But I'd say on my musical journey, early on, as I'm sort of coming into, I guess, the serious part of my music journey, the last 3 years, Rochelle Gomez is a lady I met we have the same vocal coach, and she's from Brazil. Okay. And she's, if Lady Gaga and Adele had a baby, that's her voice.
Wow.
Yeah, she's like, amazing. Yeah, she goes by Roxy. Okay. Roxe with a hyphen. That's her stage name.
Cool.
And so she's phenomenal. And we started singing together, singing harmonies, playing out. My guitar friend, Michael Shanks, spent 10 years in Spain, studying at Berkeley there. And he's got a big Latin influence to his style, and he's pretty phenomenal. So I would say, yes, lots of international influence. I think Roxy just went to Eurovision to compete there.
Oh, wow.
So she's very international. Cool. And I really enjoy hanging out with her. So yeah, I think there's a big international piece to my journey. You said you had a second piece, you said, besides the international piece.
Yes, the Pluto. That's the intensity and specializing in all of these sort of higher forms of, mathematics and music really have a lot in common. I think it's the kind of brain that's attracted to one, frequently is really good at the other. Sadly, I don't have either of those, but Arwynne, I think visual linguistic realm, but I appreciate the hell out of it.
My take on that, after some reflection, is if you have an affinity to play an instrument, mm-hmm. An external to your body, so a piano, a guitar, whatever, I think you have a native affinity for the sciences, for math, mm-hmm. and science. I've met lots of vocalists only. They don't play an outside instrument. They just sing.
Yeah.
And they're not very good they hate math, as a matter of fact, but they're really good vocalists. And so I think, and some people have both, right? So you can have an affinity for math and science. You can sing and both play an instrument. But I think that affinity to math and science is like the affinity for the instrument element, maybe even the compositional element that goes with that. I don't know if you've seen Jacob Collier or not. He's a phenomenal piano player, composer. He splits up the crowd into different harmony sections live with an orchestra. And he's got a super math and science brain as well. So I think, and then the intensity part. I've been accused often of I have an on switch and then a sleep switch.
Yeah. Well, you are also a Scorpio, and your sun is conjunct Saturn. So that's, intensity, seriousness, dedication. Yeah.
I'm all in. I live that. I think to me that's part of the gusto of life, right? Just get in there and get 100%. It, right?
Yeah, I've got Scorpio rising, and my partner is a Scorpio, and it's it's all, if you wouldn't live or die for your partner, why are you even in a relationship? That kind of thing. Totally
down with that for sure. I was going to ask you if you were Scorpio too. Okay.
Yeah, the Scorpio rising is a bit of a tractor beam. I tend to find Scorpios in my environment.
A tractor beam. All right. There's
Yeah.
a Star Trek, right? Star Trek? Is that a Star Trek reference?
Yeah. A bit of a science fiction nerd too.
Okay.
Of course, awesome. I was named after an elf. How could I not be a nerd?
That is amazing. I know. I love your name. I'm like, and I love the spelling of it too. Is that the traditional spelling of it?
Well, the spelling was sort of my innovation. At the age of 7, I was tired of my teachers and people, spelling it or pronouncing it wrong, or thinking that it was a boy's name when it was written down. And thanks Tolkien, like that was sort of accurate. But for some reason, I asked my mother if it was okay if I could change the spelling so it was more feminine with YNNE instead of EN at the end. And she was like, sure, hippie mom. She's awesome. She's
cool mom. Go mom. Girl, all right.
Whatever makes you happy. So
that is awesome.
Yeah. It's funny though. I've actually done a search obviously we all search our name, but there's only one other person that I've found in the world who spells it my way. And the only reason I know about her is because she's a gamer.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like a World of Warcraft, player or whatever. So I'm like,
okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I've played that before. And I met, there's another Marck Winters, who is an artist who does physical art for computer games and for illustrated books that are fantasy oriented.
Amazing. Yeah.
So we both have a fantasy connection, I reckon.
For sure. That's awesome. How did you find our podcast? Let's just wrap up on that note and bring it back to astrology here.
Bring it in. Yeah. So here's one of the things that I found. So I just did 2 long tours last year, my first 2, 20,000 miles each. I played 120 shows. Wow. And I sort of put a routine together. So I drive 5 hours a day, I have a trailer I pull behind my SUV, drop my trailer off in a forest or a park, go play my show, come back, hitch up the next morning and do my thing. And so what I found is that the world is amazing. The world has so many tools in it today that enable you to do like mobile life like that. I could track songs from the road. I could do work. I have my AI app on my phone and I'm just talking to it and planning my route, planning where I'm going to stay, what podcast should I listen to next? Right. And I built a list of podcasts that I should listen to. And one of the things that I like to do is just sort of have I don't know if you use like Release Radar or for Spotify or something like that. No. So it's like a set of new songs that just came out.
Okay, cool.
Right. So it's really cool. So if you follow an artist, their song will be on there and the other artists that are like the ones that you listen to.
Right.
And so I listen to Release Radar, and there's not really a podcast Release Radar. There's some clunky ways that people try to do that. So I just had my AI make me a list, and you guys came up on the list, and that's how I listened to it. Yeah.
Is it ChatGPT or?
I do use ChatGPT.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I can't believe we were recommended by ChatGPT. That's incredible. I'm so blown away by that.
Yeah, so I have the most kind of like my musical taste. I have the most eclectic. I have Science Friday on there, right? I have what do I have on there? I have Physics Now. I have Joe Pug's songwriter studio. I have, hiking. I don't know, I have all kind of stuff on my list. Right. Yeah. And of all things, you guys came up in the science adjacent section of my,
That's amazing. Wow. Well,
they didn't tell me your name was Arwynne. Otherwise, I'd have been calling you right away. Like, all right, we gotta talk from the road, don't you know?
That's amazing. No, that's super cool. I love that.
Yeah, wow. And I have not written a song about astrology yet, but I kind of like the Jupiter rising thing.
Well, I mean, so your most elevated planet is. Let me just go back to the notes. Oh, Saturn. That's right. So we talked about Saturn. Your chart ruler is Saturn as well, because you've got Capricorn rising and you've got Mars in the first house. So those are all great things that might make a good astrology song.
That's pretty cool. Well, when the podcast comes out, I'm going to have to pull the transcript.
Yes.
And then I'm going to have to write a song. I may have to call you though for some interpretation. Maybe we can
100%.
co-write it together. That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we will be posting a blog post with your chart and with some notes about the podcast. And of course, once you're actually listening to this, everyone out there in the world, you can just link below and go to the blog post and read all about it.
That is sweet. Yeah. Super sweet.
Yeah. Well, we will, as soon as you write that song, we can get you back on the podcast and we can do another episode.
That will be cool. That will be. I'm gonna be calling you to be my co-writer, my editor.
Okay.
Right? That'd be great.
That'll be another challenge. I'll be up for it.
That is super sweet. Well, Arwynne, you've been amazing to talk with. I love your energy. Yeah.
Thanks so much, and best of luck. And we will talk again soon.
That sounds awesome. And maybe I'll catch you. I'm coming through Vancouver on tour.
Amazing.
So maybe I'll catch you in person at a show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode. And don't forget to follow us on whatever podcast catcher you listen to, Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever. And make sure you're getting our Starzology newsletter. Go to starzology.com/newsletter to sign up. Make sure you're also following me, and I'm at mspink.net. That's mspink.net. And I send out my weekly newsletter every Saturday. Thanks again for listening, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Thanks so much for getting this far through the episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the two main options of my astrology services. So the first one is coaching. If you are an aspiring astrologer, and by that I mean someone who's perhaps a hobbyist astrologer or someone who's learning astrology or a student, or you've got a few books and you've been doing it for a while, but perhaps you need a little bit of help to bring it all together, then maybe getting some astrological coaching from me would be the answer for you. The astrology coaching I offer is a 1-hour session on Zoom, and it's tailored to answer your particular questions. For example, if you have issues with natal chart readings, we can go there. Or if you're having problems working with your forecasting, we can go there. Or even basic astrology stuff, or even getting yourself organized for your astrology business. The idea is that astrological coaching will answer your particular questions. It's tailored specifically to you and where you are in your astrological journey. And I'm happy to help you out with some guidance about how you can get going, what to focus on, and what to dismiss. So that would be the astrological coaching for people trying to learn astrology. The second astrological service I offer is consultations. So this is for someone who perhaps doesn't know anything about astrology, but they just want to have their chart read or get their chart done. Call it what you will. So once more, this is a 1-hour consultation over Zoom. I will interpret your chart, tell you about the main features, tell you about where the energy is flowing, and all the rest of what is entailed in a thorough natal chart interpretation. I can also add in some forecasting in there too, bearing in mind we only have 1 hour. So just in summary, I've got coaching for people who want to learn astrology, and I've got consultations for those who want to get an astrology reading done. I'm Alison Price from Starzology.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.